Like, I can't believe it's just I've made a litany of errors in my draft process.
Yeah. Hey, we all do. It's all good.
Yeah. I'm just letting y'all know I am not prepared tonight. I'm just winging it. I'm a professional bullshitter, though, so I'll figure it out.
You got it, man.
Off the cuff.
We'll just have a little more fun. Yeah, it's all good. All right, guys. You guys got your Audacity ready and all that?
Yes.
All right. 1, 2, 3, go.
Check.
Oh, shit.
Check.
Delay.
Oh, man.
There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Mine crashed.
4.
Okay.
Hold on. I got to redo.
It's all right. File new.
Oh, anyway, so complete sidebar. We were kind of talking about, but Wild at Heart. So essentially saying how men are so intertwined with outdoor and nature, and whether that be hiking or sitting on a mountain somewhere or hunting or fishing or whatever, that like breeds or channels the innermost being of men in our primal state and everything else like that. It's so natural and good for you just to be outside doing that stuff, So I was saying that's my therapy, man. The book said it. I got to do it.
I didn't even realize he bounced. There you go. What's up, man?
My bad. I had like 13 windows open and closed the wrong one.
Got it.
All right, say when.
Are you ready, right?
1 second. It's got my my audio set to. I don't want to have a delay on the Audacity. Hold on 1 second. Let me just change sounds, input, Mac Pro, output, AirPods. There we go. Hell, I guess this will work. Cool. All right, I'm ready.
All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Check. 1, 2. Man.
1, 2, 3. Way delayed, but we're live.
Check. 1, 2. Test.
Check.
All right. Okay, he's ready. Matt, you going or?
I'm good. Yeah.
Test. What the shit? Oh man, gosh. I'm ruining the entire night. Test.
Little yapper dog. Go find mom, little dog.
Test. Oh boy. Test. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Oh man. Quit Audacity. Terminal. Wait all night for Ray and I'll do this. Default interactive now. Test. Okay, I'm good. It's working.
We are live.
It's working.
So yours just started? Okay, so you'll be about a minute 45. Okay.
Yes, it's working now.
Okay. All right, guys.
It's on.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Devy Happy Hour, episode 34, your source of knowledge for college football and pertains to the Devy landscape. Once again, I say that every freaking week differently. Anyways, guys, welcome you guys back. We're going to do kind of an award show tonight, a looser show. First up, I've got to introduce my co-host. I have a special surprise for my first co-host here. I don't know if any of you guys know, but he has gotten his way into the finals of Scott Fish Bowl 9. Matt, I got an introduction for you. Ready? This is for you, man. Started from the bottom, now he's here. Started from the bottom, now his whole team's here. Started from the bottom, now he's here.
Yeah.
Started from the bottom, now his whole team's here. 1,200 strong, all going for the ship. The Scott Fish Bowl is the prize they want to get. Many players came and many players went. Of the few left standing is my man McGriff. He's been lining up, knocking them out. Deltron repping, flexing his clout. 19 teams left standing in the way. Commish will be the only one left Tuesday.
Hey, that's dope, dude. I'll take that all day. Even if I don't win, getting an intro like that.
Here, I thought the black guy on the show was supposed to be the rapper. Devy the White just took it over, baby. I love it. Like 8 Mile Eminem versus Papa Doc right there.
So good, Dwight.
Oh, man. How you doing, man?
You know what? I'm feeling blessed, bro. I'm feeling good. I got the intro. I feel like I'm about to walk out to a UFC fight. Like, here we go. Oh, man. No, it's a good time, dude. So, obviously, SFB 9 in the finals. My mind is blown. Y'all know I was on pins and needles. I'm still kind of waiting to wake up tomorrow morning to make sure there wasn't a stat correction. But man, what a game! What Drew Brees! Like, I love Drew Brees, right? And I don't want to get too far off topic. We're gonna get the intro part done. Love him. He's one of my favorite players. Stand-up guy. But I wanted him to go home that night. I'm like, just get out of here, please. Go sit down. Go hug your wife and kids. Go on now. But man, I'm in there. I'm in a couple other ones. It's a good time. So hey, here we are, dude. So wrapping up this season and getting through these championships, man.
Right. And then there's Ray. Sorry, man.
Hold
on, let me come up with a rap for you real quick.
My team was garbage. It's all about Commish McGriff. I'm so happy for this dude, man. Literally 1,200 teams to be in the final 20, dude. That's just the odds, man. And you had so many different things that happened with your roster, but I think it's an awesome accomplishment. And I, for one, am rooting you on. I hope you win it all. Man, I'm just happy to be here to talk to you tonight. And amongst greatness, we got a freaking rapper, a Scott Fish Bowl finalist. I'm just here, man. I'm just here.
Yeah, it's one of those years, man. Like, you see some of these teams that have made championships, and you're just like, wow, it's been a bizarre season, man. So we're definitely ready for this 2020 class to come in and hopefully give us some fresh, healthy players that can stay healthy a whole year. Good Lord. It's been a crazy season, man. Like I said off the top, we're going to do kind of an award show. We're kind of a looser show where we don't have a lot of show notes or anything. We're just kind of winging it, guys. Just some guys that, we really love this year. And we're going to do our awards. We've got the awards that everybody gives, and then also the All-American. But this is all with a Devy slant. These are guys that we think are going to be good in the NFL. So we're not going to be covering, some of these awards. You're going to be like, most of these guys are truly they're best at their positions, but there are some that are probably going to be like, why don't you go with so-and-so? But there's definitely some guys that are going to translate better in the NFL, I think. So we're going to go at it with that slant. And the first one that I thought of off the top was the Davy O'Brien Award, which goes to the best quarterback in college football. And I don't know if there's anybody other than Joe Burrow for you guys. He's it, man. What do you think, Ray?
I can come up with some names just to be contrarian or to give you somebody other than Joe Burrow, but he's the best. He was the best offensive weapon in college football this year. What he did was historic. It's unprecedented. And when you just listen to some of the accomplishments and the accolades that he did in the SEC this year, and you think about all those great quarterbacks that have come before him in that conference, it blows my mind. The most passing yards, passing touchdowns, complete. It's just what can you say? And I really like the kid's moxie, his swagger, his makeup, his story. Davy O'Brien Award for me, it's a no-brainer. It's Joe Burrow.
Right. I think it goes far beyond the numbers even. Like you said, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but if he does not go to the Bengals, I will be just absolutely mortified. Like, I think they have to take him. You love what he brings to the table. You love the movement, the leadership. I don't mind that he's a little bit older. Some people are like, oh, he's 24, whatever. A lot of quarterbacks come in the league at 22 and stink for the first couple of years anyway. So, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, he's been through a lot, and you see his leadership, and then with his speech at the Heisman's too. The kid's got a great head on his shoulders. So, just there's so much to love about him, and it goes beyond the stats. There's, like you said, a couple other names that could have been thrown in there. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, stuff like that. But I think for right now, the best quarterback going into the NFL is Joe Burrow. So, Matt, you got anything with that? Or
no? You guys nailed it. The flip side is that the value becomes Tua. Excuse me, and it's one of those things when you see like when Peyton Manning missed that entire season a handful of years ago, and it was like, could he still be voted MVP just because his absence showed how great he was? And so obviously Alabama's a different situation where they still have greatness and elite players and all that stuff. So it wasn't that crazy of a deal. But just having this conversation, I like Joe Burrow a lot. I think Tua screams value to me right now, but not to get off track with the buy-sell portion of this thing, but it is Burrow. For what we're talking about, it's Burrow. What he did was amazing in the SEC with the toughest defenses. Kind of changed the whole dynamic of what that thing looks like, man. So it's fun. This is great for college football. He boosted his stock. I don't know if y'all seen that tweet that went on the other day where Joe Burrow was in high school, tweeted somebody, some scout or whatever. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was great.
He was like, hey, how do I get my name out there? Da, 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 da. And so, that was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And for that, to come full circle, the kids winning a Heisman and being handed a Bengals helmet by Boomer Esiason on a TV station or whatever. It's like, man, so cool. Let's live in the dream.
All right. It'll be really interesting to see what LSU does next year. There's got to be some names that'll come through the transfer portal. LSU will be a hot place for a quarterback next year. So they don't really have.
Does it scare y'all a little bit? Does it scare you that this, when you're thinking about the Bengals organization, they have not been a good organization run from the top down. They do have a lot of weapons, but seeing is that he was, essentially a one-year marvel. I know he was okay last year, but he really elevated his game this year. Does it worry you at all when you look at those one-year mega producers in college translating to the NFL?
For me, no. Like, he started all of last year too, and he went through. He had some really good games toward the end of the season. You could start to see him like turn the page. Like he was grasping the offense and realizing, hey, I've got all these weapons around me. And I like that he struggled a little bit. And I actually don't mind that he went to Ohio State, fought for his job, and he transferred here. It shows he perseveres, and he's gonna need it with the Bengals. So, like you said, they've not had a good track record, and it does make me a little nervous that they'll ruin this talent, because I think he's a pretty damn good talent, and I think he's in this. He really stands out. The more I watch him, the more you like him, and the more you're really rooting for the kid. So I hope Cincinnati doesn't ruin it. They've got some good pieces. They've got some decent defensive pieces, but they have a lot of work to do. And I read recently, or I think Matt Miller on Stick to Football the other morning said, pick 33 is going to be their most important pick, because what they do after Joe Burrow is going to be their most important pick. So I kind of like that. And I think it's true. They've not had the best track record of drafting and building a solid team. They've got Jonah Williams coming back, and you would think they would go offensive line as well in this draft. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do to keep surrounding him. Who knows what's going on with AJ Green? So is he ever going to be healthy again? I kind of don't feel like he is at the rate he's going, but I hope he is. So if he comes back, and Joe Burrow's got a nice set of toys to play with, so could be a very interesting team next year. All right. You guys got anything else, or we bounce onto the running backs? That was a little bit longer on Burrow, but
that's fine. The only thing you got me, my ears perked right now, thinking pick 33. So if you take Burrow at 1, if somehow Kenneth Murray falls to 33, dude, that's like dream scenario. They need another backer over there that can get it done.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, there's still some decent offensive line that could come into play there. So they need to. You see these teams that are doing well, and they all have good offensive lines, and that's unless you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson who doesn't need a lot of offensive line. So. It's crazy. All right, next award is we're just going to call it Devy Doak Walker, who goes to the best running back in college football. And as far as Devy, who do you got for this, Ray?
All right, for me, the best running back in 2019 in college football was Travis Etienne. I'm going Travis Etienne. I know a lot of people would say Jonathan Taylor. One of you may say Jonathan Taylor. I haven't seen the show sheet, so I'm excited to see who you guys select. But I think what Etienne has done this year, I mean, it's sort of like he's quietly just smashed this season again. And there was a stat that I saw that I can't recall the service that put it out, but I believe he was first in the nation in tackle in yards after contact. And he only received, I believe it was like less than 20 carries in the fourth quarter all season. Like he wasn't even in the game in the fourth quarter and still put up ridiculous rushing yards. I think he's somebody that I was a little bit lower on coming into the season, but watching his game, seeing him improve in the receiving game, he caught more passes than DeAndre Swift did this year. I still don't believe he's the weapon that Swift is out of the backfield and can be used that way. But the fact that you don't have to take him off of the field on third downs is huge. I think he's elevated his draft stock a little bit. And I think we've got to get away from first-round running backs. I think teams are wising up to the fact that you don't have to spend that high of draft capital on a running back. So second, third round, a running back that's selected in the second or third round, I think that's great draft capital. David Montgomery was a third-round pick. Would you rather David Montgomery in the third or Travis Etienne in the third or second round? So I think that for me, you can't argue anybody else, but I was very, very impressed by Travis Etienne's play, his production, and his improvement in the receiving game this year.
I did not see that coming. I like it. Yeah, he's been my boy for a while, and I kind of cooled on him a little bit this season, and I was – still kind of hoping he slips a little bit in my draft so I can get him in the middle of the first round. But I like landing spots. So, Matt, who do you got for the Doak Walker, man?
Well, I love your pick, so I'm not going to grab on that. But, I'll highlight Jonathan Taylor here, which is kind of an easy grab. But, I mean, man ran for 1,900 yards, 6.5 yards a carry, showed what we wanted to see. And the sleeper in this category honestly could be Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who – did exactly what needed to be done for him in his junior campaign to make his stock what it is, to make his, everything that goes with his name. He really did the most, I think. When we talk about several weeks ago, we talked about risers and fallers, and I don't even know if he had risen all the way up yet by the time we even had that conversation. But you got to love Jonathan Taylor's essentially entire body of work. Obviously, some of those down games against tougher competition is maybe the red flag. But outside of that, that man's going to go and give it his all. And we're going to probably get 4 good years out of him in the NFL. And it's probably time to move on there. But for the college production, what they do in Wisconsin, how he did that, and they ran that team through him, got to love it.
Right. I actually went J.K. Dobbins because I thought he impressed me a lot this year with what he did and how he bounced back after being down here last year. He ran for 1,800 yards, 20 touchdowns. Added 17 grabs, and I liked that he seemed to just take over games when they really needed to. Fields did amazing, so he didn't need to, but for some reason, whenever I'd watch Ohio State, Dobbins just popped. And I think we can't go wrong with any of these three guys. These three guys could all have a legitimate shot at being 101 next year, depending on their landing spot. So it's going to be fun to watch how that plays out.
So real quick, because I just wanted to kind of compare the three running backs that we just named, right? And Jonathan Taylor, almost 2,000 rushing yards, and he did it on 299 attempts, 6.4 yards a carry, 24 grabs. J.K. Dobbins, like you just said, Dwight, over 1,800 rushing yards, 6.5 a carry, 283 carries in 13 games. Travis Etienne, 1,500 rushing yards on the dot, 8.2 yards a carry, 29 receptions, and he only carried the ball 182 times. That's just, I mean, and I'm not exaggerating. I think it might have been less than 15 times he even touched the ball in the fourth quarter of games. I mean, what he was doing, 8.2 a carry, that's Darrell Henderson category, and he had 8.2 this year, 8.1 last year, 183 carries. That was it. I mean, it's just all three of these guys are studs. I think we talk about it all the time. Landing spot is going to be huge for these guys. I want to see where they're at, just the opportunity and draft capital, all of it, but they're all studs.
My favorite Etienne stat right now is his ADP. You know what I'm saying? Because you're seeing it 4, 5, 6. You know, him falling a little bit. So it's like, oh, all right, let's do this. You know, I'll take that.
Yep.
Right. All right, the Devy Blitnikoff. I'm going with the real I think he did win the Blitnikoff Award, Jamar Chase, right? And I think he won it. Pretty sure he did.
Sir, yeah.
What's that? Yeah, it's my Devy Blitnikoff too. I absolutely love this kid. He caught 73 balls for 1,500 yards and 18 scores this year, and the kid flies around. He catches everything. He's got that alpha dog, that kind of a nasty little streak to him, and just love watching him play, man. Just love it. Do you guys have any? Matt, we'll start with you first. Who is your Blitnikoff Award winner, man?
Well, I don't know if there's much more to be said. I fully agree with you on Jamar Chase. You know, just everything that you could have wanted. He's got the size. He's got the, the high school recognition. He's got all the things. He's got everything. He did it on the biggest stage in the toughest division. It's hard to argue against that being the guy. I mean, you could throw other names in there, but just create conversation. But I would also give my Blitnikoff to him.
Great.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think Jamar Chase is the right answer. I could, maybe I should unmute my microphone first. I'm with you guys. I think Jamar Chase is the correct answer. I think he was the best wide receiver in college football this year. We can make the argument for others. I really like what CeeDee Lamb did. I think if CeeDee Lamb had the market share, the target share that Jamar Chase did, he probably would have produced similar numbers. And if you look at him, 1,200 yards on 58 grabs and 14 touchdowns for CD. Fantastic season. But I want to highlight who was playing across from Jamar Chase. So we talk about how great he was, and he was. 73 grabs, 1,498 yards, 18 touchdowns for Jamar Chase. But right across the field, Jefferson, 88 grabs, 1,200 yards, and 14 touchdowns. That offense was just, he was right there. If Jamar Chase was the Blitnikoff Award winner, Justin Jefferson had 200 less receiving yards and a couple less touchdowns, and he had more receptions. It was just they were both fantastic wide receivers this year. I think Chase is the guy, but I'm not ignoring what Justin Jefferson did, CeeDee Lamb, and a couple of others.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm curious to see if Jefferson does come out, what he does at the combine and everything. He's a guy that's kind of going under the radar. I don't know where you have him in the 2020 class, Ray. I don't even think I have him in my top 10, and he probably should be, So He's a guy I've got to probably watch a little more. Whenever I watched LSU, my eyes are always on Chase, but Jefferson seemed to come through also. So yeah, the guy I got to watch a little more in the off season. So. All right, the Devy John Mackey Award. We'll go. It just sounds funny, but the best tight end in college football. Ray, who do you got this year for your best tight end? Who do you think is the best Devy tight end in college football right now, man?
So I have to preface this by saying I didn't watch one single game from Lane Kiffin's Florida Atlantic Owl-led team. Not one single game. I watched a lot of highlights of this kid, but I like what I saw on the highlight tape, on the cut-ups, and that's Harrison Bryant. He's got the size at 6'5", over 240 pounds. And I saw Lane Kiffin use him like an NFL tight end. He was split out. He played in line. He played that move tight end role, sort of that H-back role. And, I mean, Lane Kiffin, call him what you want for his shrewd behavior and some of his tactics, but he knows what he's doing as far as offensive creativity. And if you can be utilized to the point where he was producing like a wide receiver, for me, he's somebody that I am very interested in during my rookie drafts, and it's somebody you probably can get in the 4th round or right off of waivers. But over 1,000 receiving yards for a collegiate tight end, I mean, that's insane. And then he produced as a junior and as a sophomore. So he's somebody that, for me, if I'm looking to grab a tight end late in rookie drafts, I'm definitely targeting Harrison Bryant.
See, I'm worried that his name is getting this recognition. Like I wanted him to sneak to the 3rd and 4th round of Devy drafts. So I don't know. He's starting to get that press too, and that notice. And I think he's going to do really well in the combine too. So he may not be able to sneak that far, but man,
I think he's at the Senior Bowl too. I think he'll be at the Senior
Bowl.
Bowl.
So yeah, I think. Yeah, if you don't have him, you're probably not going to get him very cheap. But I doubt he's owned in any Devy leagues, honestly. Even the deepest of deepest Devy leagues, I would not think he's owned. So, anyways, Matt, who do you got for Mackey Award winner?
I'm kind of just feeling like piggyback style over here because I could go with either one of your guys' picks here. Just to highlight a couple things on Harrison Bryant, man. So he had, like you said, 1,007 yards, I believe. Next closest to him was Bryson Hopkins with 830. And then Hunter Bryant with the great season he had, 825. So this guy had like 170 more yards, 177 more yards than the next closest tight end. He was a weapon, and I am liking more and more and more. But I'm with you, Dwight. This is less and less good news for us. His stock's going to continue to climb. He's an athletic dude who can play. He's a weapon. A weapon in the pass game at the tight end position is a valuable asset. Obviously, in the NFL, everybody wants one. Not everybody's got one. The tight end landscape is not great, so people are going to get hot on this. So I love him a lot. I love the guy you're going to talk about. And then it's another one of those kind of injury deals that brings it back up. But I think Jacob Breeland is still like is now going to be the underrated guy or the undervalued guy going into this process because of the injury and everything else. He still may get some capital, but that dude's got it all too, man. And that's obviously valuable for an NFL team. So keeping it on the Devy side of things, the tight end thing, so roll the dice. But I love Harrison Bryant. I really like Jacob Breeland, and I love the guy you're going to talk about next.
Right, yeah. Mine is Bryson Hopkins, just because I haven't got a chance to watch Harrison Bryant as much as I'd like to. Like Ray said, I've seen some of the highlights and stuff, but I'd like to see what he does away from the ball and stuff. But I love Bryson Hopkins quite a bit. I think this is turning out to be a sneaky good class, this 2020 class. It was supposed to be Albert O, and then, and it's got some pretty good options between, like you said, Hopkins, Hunter Bryant, Harrison Bryant, like too many names that sound exactly the same. And Alberto is still in there too. So it's got, a pretty good chance of being a pretty darn good class. So I'm giving mine to Bryson Hopkins though. And for the same reasons as Harrison Bryant, you see he's got almost identical size, 6'5", 240, I think is what Bryson is at. And you see that he's a true weapon as well, and just really great hands. So I like him a lot. All right, guys. Devy Heisman Award. I actually didn't write a name down because I don't know. So I'm probably going to go with whatever comes to my mouth here. So I don't know. Ray, who's your Heisman Award? Who do you think is the best player in college football this year? Like, as it pertains to going to the NFL?
I mean, this is – why'd you have to call me first?
All right, Matt.
Back to Ray. No, you know what? This one's hard, dude. And this is really just the gut thing. And, obviously the Heisman does not have the best stats, but God, this one is hard. I feel like, this easy route would be to stick with somebody like a Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow, and that's all good and well. And I'm not mad at any of that. You guys know me. I'll do something just because I love value. And that's where I kind of love to ride. So I want to get the most from the guy that had the least capital. So you could easily give that thing to Najee this year, and I'd be happy with that. Just what he was able to do, obviously with the quarterback injuries, everything from just receiving like a monster to rushing like a monster to blasting linebackers like a monster in pass protection. He did it all, dude. So this is a tough category. You could stick up top. I could take the Swift or whatever else, but I'm going to give it to Najee Harris from Alabama.
Very interesting.
All right. They gave me time to come up with somebody.
All right.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to thank you. I'm going to piggyback off of what Matt says because I do think it's about finding value, right? And when I'm looking at all these players who are potentially going to come out and be on our fantasy rosters next year, I think somebody who is going to provide value is CeeDee Lamb. All right. CeeDee Lamb is not going to test like Jalen Reagor. He's not going to test like Jerry Jeudy. He's not going to look the part like T. Higgins. He's 6'2", 192 pounds. He'll probably come into the combine 195, 200. I don't believe he's going to run super fast. I think he's going to get decent draft capital. But coming out of the NFL combine, I promise you we're not going to be talking about CeeDee Lamb. And there are Jerry Jeudy's, and there are going to be some other players probably drafted ahead of CeeDee. But watching this kid play, we've made the jokes before. He's the fastest, not that fast guy in the country. He's strong at the point of attack. He can run the routes. He's a dynamic playmaker. I really believe if I had to hang my hat on somebody this NFL draft that's going to be a star in the NFL, I think it's CeeDee Lamb. I truly believe that he was the best wide receiver on Oklahoma's roster to me last year with Hollywood Brown, and he dominated this year with the least accurate quarterback from just a volume standpoint in Jalen Hurts when you're looking at Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts. I think Lamb is going to land somewhere, and he is going to be an alpha sooner rather than later. I really think he's going to provide value in the middle of your dynasty rookie drafts this year. So I'm going to give it to CeeDee Lamb.
And I'm going to do what the Heisman should have done. It's Chase Young, baby. No. Anyways.
Of course.
What?
I said, of course, it's Chase Young.
Oh, disclaimer, Dwight got a concussion earlier, so he might not be thinking right here.
I know. I feel like I got hit by Chase Young. No, if you're going to go that route, I do think Chase Young is going to be like an absolute superstar in the NFL. But if we're going to go offensively, oh man, like you said, it's so hard because any of these running backs could make a claim based on where they land, and I think all of them are immensely talented. Yeah, that's why I didn't write anything down. I kind of went back and forth on. I like the CeeDee pick because I think what he's going to do, what he does after the ball, is something the NFL values greatly. Like, especially you can put him with any quarterback, and he's going to be fine. Even if you put him with, like the backup or Will Grier or something. He's going to be able to take those short passes and just change the game, kind of like what Tyreek does when he gets those short passes and just next thing you know he's 70 yards downfield. So I like what CeeDee does. Najee was a good value pick. Man. Whew, you guys aren't making it easy on me. So, and like,
I had 2 turns to figure this out.
Yeah, I still don't. Yeah, can I cop out? If we're gonna take, I'll go the quarterback route. And I love Joe Burrow, but I still believe that if Tua has the makeup to be a better NFL quarterback, as long as he can obviously get back healthy. But I love the head on his shoulders, the touch, the accuracy, I love a lot about him. I think he's got more of the just everything. I know the intangibles. I think Burrow's going to be a very good quarterback, but I think Tua has the next level. If one, yeah, I see it. I pray to God that he's healthy. And that he can come back and show the NFL what he can do because I love watching him in college. I love the touch, the act, just everything about this kid. And if I had to put my hat on one quarterback in college football that's coming out specifically this year, I would go with Tua. So I'll give mine to Tua.
I like it.
I'm here for it, man. Y'all know I love him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. All Americans. Dun, 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 dun. All right, guys. I'm pretty sure Ray's going my route, right? Did you see my show sheet, my guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about Sam Howell because I think that this kid is going to be if you have a league that's already drafted Devy players, Sam Howell is probably going to be your 101 next year. Like I love him that much. Like he was probably not drafted in any Devy drafts this offseason. You know, he was highly sought after. I believe he's a 4-star guy, but he went to North Carolina. So, and I just love watching this kid play. He had 3,300 yards, 35 touchdowns, 7 picks this year, 60% completion on a team that had just no weapons, no defense. I believe they finished like 3-9. Like it was a rough team, but they took Clemson to the wire. And I just love his leadership. I love everything about this kid. I am infatuated with Sam Howell. So he is my freshman All-American. I don't know if, Matt, do you have you talk about your kid, and I like him quite a bit too. So.
Well, I'm with it, man. I mean, I didn't get to watch him as much as you guys, but obviously I've got to see some of these West Coast guys a little bit more. And but I'm with you. I'm a believer in Sam Howell, but I think Keaton Slova is definitely. You know, I kind of threw some honorable mentions in here as it went on because some of them are a little bit more clear and some are not. But Keaton Slovis with what he did, with what he had and where he came in at, and you know, he third string guy and all this other stuff. And I had it up a second ago, but of course, when we get to it, I switch screens. But if I remember right, in efficiency or completion percentage, Keaton Slovis was 5th in the country. And this is a kid who's the third string freshman, not even supposed to be out there doing it, and did it. You know what I mean? He played really well with an SC team that's not great. Let's see real fast. 3,200 yards, 71.8% completion percentage. That's terrific, man. So good for what he did. And then the other one, too, Jaden Daniels, you could throw out there. But, you know, once again, I'm kind of biased to these West Coast kids. But I really like what Keaton Slovis did, especially with what he had.
Right. The fact that he came in, you know, like you got to think he got no reps in spring. Like, you know, he probably didn't see the field like hardly at all, especially with the first team offense. And to come in, you know, and play games against legitimate competition right away. Like he was very impressive as well. And, you know,
I guess I should clarify too. When I said with what he had terrific receivers. Don't make me sound like that. I guess with the circumstance in which he had to come in and play, not prepared. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You were saying what I was trying to say, and that's, you know, he wasn't prepared to be that guy. He hasn't been practicing to be that. Well, maybe he hasn't, you know, and that's why he showed up.
Right, and I don't even think he was recruited to be that guy either. So, you know, he was 3-star guy. You know, probably. At USC, a team that, you know, in the past has gotten 5-star guys. I've seen you guys post about that recently, that you're falling behind in recruitment, you know. But so
0 top 300 picks earlier today. The last I checked, 0.
Man,
it's
terrible.
But to Matt's point, the good thing about Slovis is, although we retained Clay Helton, Graham Harrell is coming back, so he's got the same offensive coordinator. Same head coach, so I think it's going. And Matt Fink is transferring or entered the transfer portal, so it looks like, you know, I know a lot of people were excited about JT Daniels, but I think this is Slovis's job to lose. So him with Drake, London, I think that's going to be good. Amon-Ra St. Brown, so it's going to be fun to watch Slovis's development, but. Dwight, it's Sam Howell for all the things that you mentioned. For me.
Right. All right. Matt, do you have a sophomore? Jesus. Do you have a sophomore All-American that you can think of, or?
Oh, and so it's hard, right? And you're going to hit on probably obviously the brightest star in that category. But I was going to throw an honorable mention, love to Brock Purdy, who obviously you guys are both watching a lot more, and who you love what he's done this year. But I mean, if you're giving it to the sophomore, it's got to be the guy you got listed here, Dwight.
Yeah, I think it's far and away Justin Fields, the best sophomore quarterback this year. All he did, let me see, he did a little bit this year. 3,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, 1 interception, 67% completion, and it added 471 yards and 10 scores on the ground. So, yeah, and just led the offense, you know, and for the probably the second best team in the country. So I'm really, really curious to see what he does next year to follow this up. I don't know, Ray. Do you got anybody else you can think of for that's like a shoe-in for the sophomore? I mean, I know
it's Justin Fields. Brock Purdy definitely deserves honorable mention. But what I liked about Fields is he really wasn't even used as a rusher. You know what I mean? He ran the ball at times, but it wasn't like he was out there Jalen Hurtsing it up. I mean, he didn't have to do that. He was delivering from the pocket. He's so poised. He's so calm. Such a good quarterback. Such a good quarterback prospect.
Right. Yep. Love it. It leads to the juniors. For junior, I went with Tua, despite the fact that he missed the last couple games, and he was my Devy Heisman, so I don't need to talk anything more about him. But do you guys have a different choice for junior Heisman or All-American? Sorry.
It's Tua, man. You know, just a stud. It's funny. You hear a lot about Joe Burrow. Not a knock on Joe Burrow. You hear a lot about how he's charismatic, how he's smooth, all that stuff. It's funny because all those things that he really shines in those intangibles, I think Tua outshines him in those, and that's not even on the football field. So, just a terrific guy, player, young man. Love it. I saw he tweeted earlier today, decisions. And I'm like, man, quit dragging us along to it, man. Just say, I'm doing it.
So check this out. Check this out with Tua. Tua played, they have him for 9 games, but it was really like 8.5 because he got hurt in that 9th game in the first half. 180 completions, 2,840 yards, 33 TDs, 3 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence, 13 games, 3,100 yards, 34 TDs, and 8 interceptions. I mean, what Tua was doing, it was unprecedented. It was going to come down to style points. It was going to come down to, well, Alabama had already lost to LSU, right? They had lost to LSU. Tua was on that gimpy ankle. So I think Burrow still would have been the Heisman winner. But what Tua was doing before he got hurt literally was unprecedented levels of quarterback excellence. I call me crazy, whatever you want. I still think he is going to be a fantastic NFL quarterback. Until he proves me otherwise that he can't move and he's, relegated to a wheelchair, or, they make it seem like his whole lower body is going to be cut off and he's just going to be like a stumped in the top half, no legs. I'm not buying it that he's going to be some just bum of a quarterback. He's too good. He's too good of a quarterback. He's too good upstairs. He's shown too much for me to think that he's going to be anything other than fantastic.
Right. He's not got that. He's never been much of a runner, but he is very mobile, though. Like he moves so well in the pocket. The shifting and he senses pressure really well, which was an issue at Alabama. Their line tended to let people through quite a bit. So Tua was under quite a bit of pressure the entire time. It seemed every game I watched of him, he was running for his life sometimes. So, and then he'd stop and just throw this tremendous, just beautiful pass to one of his, Devy guys that are going to be in the NFL this year. So for senior All-American, I think it's Burrow. That's who I think. But there's a couple guys who deserve at least honorable mention or, being up there with it. And Ray, I'll let you talk your guy up a little bit.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts needs to be in the category. Heisman Trophy finalist, coming into Oklahoma, transferring from Alabama. The question was, can he deliver from the pocket? I think he showed that at times. I do think he's somebody that needs a little bit of development, and we have to be careful not to fall into the Lamar Jackson trap. I know that everybody's going to be looking for the next mobile quarterback, and while I do think he can offer you something on the ground, I think he's more of I think he's more Tim Tebow as a runner than he is Lamar Jackson. He's not as electric. He is not as fast. He's not as quick twitch. He's more like power. You know what I mean? He's a power runner, and once he gets going downhill, he's so big and strong, he just kind of bulls people over. He's really sort of like a shorter version of Cam Newton, right? Cam Newton wasn't like Lamar Jackson, but no one wanted to deal with 6'5", 250 in the open field. Now, Jalen Hurts isn't that big, but I do think he's somebody that he's going to be a backup when he first enters the league, and then he's going to have an opportunity to come in and be a starter, and we'll see, is the offense creative enough to use him? But the answer to the question is Joe Burrow, and it's really, I mean, we can just talk. Everything that we talk about could be Joe Burrow. Like, really, who's the best player in college football? Joe Burrow. Who's the best quarterback? Joe Burrow. Who's the All-American? Joe Burrow. That's just the default answer. So it's Joe Burrow.
Freshman tight end, Joe Burrow.
Right. Joe Burrow. Exactly.
But Matt, you mentioned a name that could be interesting.
Well, yeah, and it's, Joe Burrow with that season that he had, he was second in the country in passing yards, and the only person ahead of him had 500 more passing yards than him. And, it's not obviously not all about stats. But Anthony Gordon up at Washington State in that Mike Leach offense, he had an impressive year, man. They throw the ball a lot more up there. Obviously, it's a different program, different defenses, all that. But you can't deny the outcome of what they did offensively with significantly lesser receivers. But he made some of those receivers, and I can't remember the guy's name now. It's like Ara something Donda. Man, that dude, like, stat-wise, was a monster this year. Some other cat named Esau Winston. Some other, it's not the same guys. It's not Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and these cats. So Anthony Gordon lit it up. He did really well. I would like to think that he's probably going to be a mid-round pick, something like that. Their teams are almost going to have to do that, especially with like Minshew Mania and all the other stuff. You know what I mean? So he's going to end up on an NFL roster. He's going to be somebody, especially in super flex leagues, that you're going to be able to grab later. And why not? It's quarterback, and yeah, you never know. But college-wise, what he did this year, like I said, 500 more passing yards than Burrow on the season. It's pretty cool, man. So at 5,200 something yards, he balled out.
Right, definitely a product of that offense, but at the same time, you see a lot of things that you like about him when you watch him. He's also has that moxie, he has a little bit of that swagger, and he throws a beautiful ball as well. So he should get some traction. Should be at maybe a late day 2 guy, probably more likely probably day 3. But if somebody's willing to sit there and let it and take the time and learn and teach him, he could be a decent NFL quarterback. So yeah. Like you said, you could probably grab him in the second round of your super flex drafts, and why not? Maybe even third. So, all right, guys, to the running backs. We have so many beautiful, amazing choices here at running back. So, Ray will lead off with your freshman All-American because I went back and forth between mine and yours. So,
oh, you were thinking about my guy too?
Yeah, but I just can't. My guy, man.
I got a couple of questions about him when you get to him, but for me, it's Iowa State's freshman running back Breece Hall. He just reminds me of Joe Mixon. Like when he plays, I just see Joe Mixon all up and down throughout his game. 6'1", 210 pounds. Didn't crack 1,000 rushing yards, but he also didn't start every game this season. But he's somebody. If we were doing a Devy startup right now, he wouldn't fall out of the top 20 picks for me. He's that talented of a running back. I think we're looking at a future first-round rookie draft stud in 2022. So for me, it's Iowa State's freshman running back, Breece Hall.
Right. You see, this is where we kind of teeter because, like you said, I see Breece maybe translating to the NFL better. My guy was Kenneth Gainwell, but I could see his size being an issue. Can he hold up to the beating that he would get in the NFL? He may end up being better, more like the Austin Eckler type. But Kenneth Gainwell did some amazing things this year. He ran for 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, and also added 44 grabs for 530 yards. Just missed 2,000 yards. That's as a freshman for Memphis. It's crazy. And I love everything you see about him, but I don't know if that's your question, but I do wonder how it will translate to the NFL because of his size at 5'9" and 190. So what was your
Yeah, it was just the size. He's not the biggest back. And I just wondered why it seemed like towards the end of the season, Memphis went away from giving him the ball. I don't know if it's because Patrick Taylor got healthy or what, but there were times where I didn't know why he wasn't in the game. But there's no denying his talent. I think it's 1A, 1B for me. I really enjoy watching both of those guys play.
Right. Matt, who do you got, man?
You all hit the main players, but somebody I wanted to kind of give an honorable mention to is the one we've talked about kind of more recently, especially with the bowl games and stuff, or the conference championships and everything. But Javion Hawkins, man, 9th in the country in rushing yards as a freshman, and similar to Gainwell, doesn't have the perfect size when it comes to the NFL translation, but 5'9", 182. He could put some pounds on over the next couple of years. DeAndre Swift is 5'9", 5'10", so it's not awful. It's not ideal either. But as a freshman, as an 18-year-old kid, man, he's still growing. So that speed, the things that you can't teach, he's got some of those stuff. But to be 9th in the country in rushing yards as a freshman, that goes for something.
Right. I like it, man. Sophomore, Ray, I'll let you take this because I'm pretty sure we're all going to say your kid. Who do you got?
You talking about Chuba Hubbard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chuba Hubbard. I mean, led the nation in rushing, breakaway speed, 6'1", 210, track speed, zone runner. You want to get him in a zone scheme, one cut, get downhill. I know he didn't catch the ball a lot this year, but he did have over 20 receptions last year with Justice Hill in the backfield. But it's a Chuba Hubbard, and I don't think it's particularly close.
Right. I agree, man. That's who I got. Yeah, you can't. What he did was amazing. I don't know why he didn't get Heisman consideration, but yeah. So Matt, you got Chuba too, man.
Yeah, I'm not in the front of the Chuba train, but I've joined the ship. Or the train. I'm somewhere back. Maybe on the caboose. I don't know. But the sophomore honorable mention for me is C.J. Verdell up in Oregon. Obviously, the offensive script and how they ran their running backs and they rotated everyone in. I don't know. Maybe they watched enough New England Patriots, whatever. But Verdell shined a lot as a sophomore, and I'm interested to see what he does next year in that jump to his junior season. But it's Chuba for this one, hands down.
Yeah, I thought of Verdell too for a second, but yeah, it's Chuba. All right, Matt, I'll let you start off with the juniors, though. Who's your pick for junior running back? All-American.
Well, so there's a handful, right? There's a couple of these guys. This is not that easy of a pick, and I'm looking at both your guys' picks on the board. And so I'm gonna pivot here a little bit, and it's not necessarily stat based, but I'm going with DeAndre Swift, who was, and may forever be my guy. I love the player, I love the talent, I love the ability, I love what I think the translation to the NFL can be. I love that he's got a lot of miles and a lot of tread left on those tires. I love that he's hopefully getting out of Georgia and getting to the NFL, although I think we got duped with he is declared, but not really, and that was a false post or whatever else. So a lot of people's, hopes got up yesterday. And then I also, just earlier today at 6:30 my time, I was going to go over there, but maybe 100 yards from my house was where Kendall Milton was signing and doing his final, deal for Georgia. He leaves here next month. So they're just got the influx of new talent coming in. I want to see him move on, but I love Swift. No bones about it. He clearly didn't have the stats, but that's typical for the Georgia backs now. So I'm a fan.
Right, and mine was Dobbins. That was my pick for Doak Walker. So, who's your junior? I mean, Ray. There's so many we can go with this. So,
yeah, it was Najee Harris for all the reasons that Matt stated above. Earlier in the show, I just love his size at 6'2", 230, quick feet, ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, run between the tackles, quick feet, lateral agility. Really reminds me of Steven Jackson. I think it's a perfect comp for Najee Harris. So, and he really had to carry that team towards the end of the season. I mean, when Tua went down, everyone knew that Najee was the guy, and he still produced. So, very, very excited about his prospectus at the next level.
All right, love it. All right, my senior All-American was Zach Moss, a guy that, I liked a lot going into the year and then kind of faded a little bit and then kind of sort of back on the train. He ran for 1,300 yards this year at 6.2 a carry, 15 touchdowns on a Utah offense that just wasn't much other than him, and he was constantly facing stacked boxes. And you saw it a little bit toward the end of the year. He, was kind of wearing down a little bit, but I hope he gets a really good shot in the NFL because I think he's a pretty talented back. There wasn't a lot of senior backs that I liked this year, but Zach Moss was the one for me. I know, Matt, who do you got for senior running back?
I was muted too. I also am with you, I think, by default, not because I'm the biggest fan of Zach Moss. You've heard me be kind of critical of him, although I think he'll be an okay NFL running back, depending situation and everything else like that. Like you said, not a ton of senior guys. Keyshawn Vaughn, obviously, kind of a little bit of a letdown, but easily could be there. Somebody who hasn't gotten a ton of love from us and in general, and somebody who I liked a couple of years ago before he got hurt, but Rodney Smith quietly had a really good year up in Minnesota, especially with Ibrahim having his ups and downs and injuries and everything else like that when we thought he was going to make that big jump. So I do like Rodney Smith. I don't know what that looks like, going into the next level. But for a senior campaign, he did pretty well this year. So I think you're right. I think it's Zach Moss.
Ray?
I tried hard to get on the Zach Moss bus. I'm just not there. I'm not discrediting anything from his production. He probably is the best senior running back, but I'm not excited to have him on my roster. Who I am excited about because he's a little less known, but he'll be at the Senior Bowl, and I think he's going to show really well, is TCU running back Darius Anderson, somebody that I got to see a lot of because TCU did not throw the ball whatsoever. But 5'11", he's about 215 pounds, 22 receptions on the season. He's a fast, explosive kid. Just watch out for him. He's somebody that I can see as a later round pick. You taking a shot on, probably you can grab him off waivers after your rookie draft. So Darius Anderson is somebody you need to write the name down and just keep an eye out for him.
Right. Like it. All right. Wide receivers. There's a lot of them here. Freshman, All-American. I'll go ahead and lead off. There's a lot of guys in this class that will, this is where I struggled a little bit because a lot of the freshmen that I like the George Pickens and, not Seth Williams, Garrett Wilson, stuff like that did not get on the field a whole lot this year. I think those guys might translate better, but I didn't want to give them the All-American award because what David Bell did at Purdue this year was just unbelievable. He took over when Rondale went out and was even balling when Rondale was in. He had 86 grabs for 1,000 yards and 7 scores as a freshman. Really good size, 6'3", 210. And it just really, really popped on tape. He's got great hands. Seemed pretty good route running already. So I think him and Rondale are going to be a nasty duo next year. So I like that quite a bit. So he's my freshman All-American. I don't know. Ray, who do you got, man?
Let me get off of mute. Yeah, it's David Bell. He was fantastic, and I don't need to reiterate everything that you just said. But I will say somebody for me that's an honorable mention is Wan'Dale Robinson out of Nebraska, sort of a dual threat wide receiver running back hybrid. Nebraska was a disappointment all the way around this year, but Wan'Dale Robinson is somebody that he's worth Devy draft capital next year, and I think he's somebody that can really blow up in his sophomore season. So Wan'Dale Robinson is somebody that we need to be paying attention to.
Right. He definitely got caught, kind of swallowed by that offense this year. I mean, that was supposed to be one of the more fun offenses to watch, and it was just ugly. So. All right. Who do you got? Matt, you got anybody different there? Or?
Nope. Sticking with you, boys. You guys hit the nail on the head there.
All right. Excellent. Sophomore, am I okay saying we're all going Jamar Chase?
Who?
Yes.
Who's that guy? Oh.
Honorable mentions. I just saw a couple pop in there if you guys want to take that.
Yeah, I mean, so Jamar Chase is obviously the easy one and the clear cut, but, Rashad Bateman, what he did this year, he was not going to be taking the backseat to any Tyler Johnson, especially, with the hype that he got going into this season. So Rashad Bateman definitely balled this year, made the case for himself, and has definitely boosted himself up into that 21 class. And then Sage Surratt, who I didn't watch a ton of, but definitely showed everything that he's got. And maybe when you folks out there who's got that side of the country could touch on him a little bit more.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about him quite a bit next year. Ray, did you have any more honorable mentions?
No. Sage Surratt was going to be the other guy. It sucks that he missed, the back half of the season, but he looks like he's going to be a stud, and he's big as hell, so I like him. But it's Jamar Chase.
Excellent. And my junior, I went with Ray's guys, CD Lamb. He's my junior All-American this year. It's pretty – we cover it almost every week, and we've talked about it some this show. What he does after the ball and the speed that you see is, like Ray said, it won't show up on tape or it won't show up at the combine, but it sure as hell shows up on tape. I mean, he pulls away. He's a lot faster than he will test. So for me, it's CD Lamb, and I think he's got a really good shot at being the most productive wide receiver that comes out of this class. So for me, it's CD. Ray, who do you got, man?
CD would be CD's the right answer, but I think right on his tail, T. Higgins. How good did T. Higgins look this season? I mean, there were some who really were skeptical about Higgins this year. Justin Ross was the better receiver. T. Higgins looks like he's going to be a problem at the next level. Is he, the next Allen Robinson type? I see a lot of A-Rob in T. Higgins' game. Ball tracking ability, that size, in a blazer but can pull away. Very good with his routes, 6'4". If you're looking for the big boy wide receiver, I was really impressed by T. Higgins and what he was able to do this season. So, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins for me.
Right, I can see T maybe falling a little bit in the draft, and the real draft. So he shouldn't in your rookie drafts. He did catch this year. To put it in perspective, he had 52 grabs for 13 touchdowns. That's like one every 4. That's crazy. So, he's just got a knack for the end zone, and he wasn't the man, or he was, but he wasn't. So yeah, like we've talked about before, if he had a higher target share, who knows what he would have done. So I like that pick. Matt, you got anything on those guys?
Just to kind of mix it up and go straight value here, I'll take the least valued Alabama receiver in the preseason for 400, Dwight, and that would be Devonta Smith, who was kind of just super slept on in the beginning of the year, right? And then all he did was just lead the team in receiving yards and 9th in the country, and was, a 4-touchdown guy multiple times, it felt like. And he just balled his butt off and has definitely boosted his stock. And now I've seen him being mocked in the first round of NFL mock. So definitely deserves a little bit of love. But, I mean, the junior wide receivers this year, you can name about 7 different guys worthy of this one,
Right, I agree. And we'll go to seniors. For me, it's Antonio Gandy Golden. I like a lot of what I see about him. I want to see what he does in the Senior Bowl against the higher competition. I don't think he's going to have any problem with it. I like his size, his hands. I like his route running. He's like a very solid, like a very good complete receiver. Another guy that may not test as well, but he'll just produce. So for me, it's Antonio Gandy Golden. I know there's a couple other names in this one. This could easily go a couple routes. I almost went with your guy, Matt. I kind of went back and forth because I absolutely love what I saw of him. So, Matt, who's your All-American?
Well, I put down Michael Pittman, and then as I'm looking at the list right now, too, I'm also thinking Brandon Ayuk could be thrown into this one, man. Right. Just the burner. But Michael Pittman, same thing, like the least valued receiver on USC's receiving core preseason, essentially it felt like, right, when we're talking about ADP. And all he did was just rise to the top, ball his butt off, and then come out here and just raise his stock. So I love it. I'm excited for him down in Mobile. That's one guy that I will for sure be highlighting and watch, and who I'm going to try and get on my rosters. I'm a fan. But like I said, Brandon Ayuk also, same thing, man. The dude just balled and did it with the freshman quarterback. So I love it.
And Ray's got a nickname for this guy already, too. I like it.
Yeah, big play Duvernay, Devin Duvernay, senior out of Texas. I believe he led the country in receptions this year. As much as we talked about UT coming in the season and my man Jake Smith, how can I not finish a Devy happy hour without talking about Jake Smith? We talked about Jake Smith and Colin Johnson. I don't think we ever mentioned Devin Duvernay's name one time, but all he did was produce this year. He is somebody that's going to go to the combine, and at 5'11", he's like 215. He's going to run sub 4.4. So I think his draft stock is just going to shoot up as well. So I love Pittman and Gandy Golden and Brandon Ayuk. I think the real winners here is this senior class of wide receivers. There's some really good talent at for the old guys coming out. I think it's just going to be a phenomenal senior crop of wide receivers this year.
Right, because all these guys that we mentioned are going to probably fall down day 2, day 3, and they're all three. I like that they're older and they have a little bit more development and they're more, savvy. And yeah, so they all have that opportunity to land on a team, that will, and then not have the expectation of the draft stock of the draft, pedigree and all that stuff too. And I love all three of these guys. So yeah, good ones, guys. Very good. All right, last one we're gonna go through tight ends. We're running kind of long. I didn't realize we're over an hour already. So yeah, whatever. Yeah, we talk every couple of weeks. Got to catch up, right? So all right, guys. Freshman tight end. I did not come up with a single name for this one, so I don't know who even wrote that name in there. Is it you, Matt, or?
It was me.
Okay.
Because I was all over Baylor Cup. I think he was the #1 rated tight end in the nation coming out of high school last year. Got hurt, but I remember watching the spring game, and this other kid kept sticking out, Jalen Weidermeyer, and he's huge. He's 6'5", 260, a freshman, but he doesn't look like a fat guy. Like, he's just jacked. He's ripped up. And as a true freshman at Texas A&M, 31 receptions, 419 yards, and 6 touchdowns. They're going to be good next year offensively with Isaiah Spiller, the 2 big tight ends, and they just got a big commitment from Demas. I mean, Kellen Mond comes back. Just watch out for this kid right here. Tight ends is all about finding the athletic guy, and if you can pinpoint him early and get him in round 15 of your Devy drafts, just stash him away, and then you might have something later down the line.
Yeah, wow. Him alongside Cup. That should be a lot of fun.
Yes.
A lot of weapons there. Cool. Did you have anybody, Matt, or?
Oh, what Ray said. Ditto.
Ditto. All right. Sophomore, I'm gonna steal Ray's guy. I'm gonna steal Kyle Pitts. So yeah, I got a chance to watch a little bit more of him in the last couple of weeks, and he really pops off. The athleticism and the size at 6'6", 240. He caught 51 balls for 6'10" and 5 this year. So he really showed as a weapon. Like, Florida needs that, and like every time it seemed like I can't think of the quarterback's name now. Frask? I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm drawing a blank on their Trask. There you go.
Trask.
Yeah, every time he was in trouble, he would be, he'd find Pitts, and Pitts was always open. So you like the rapport. He understands defenses and where he needs to be. You see intelligence in his game, and a sophomore. So I hadn't really watched him much, and Ray kept bringing up his name. So I'm like, I got to check this kid out. And yeah, impressive, man. I really, really like him. Matt, quit typing when I'm talking, man. It messes with me. All right. Because to me, it was between Pitts and the guy that Matt's typing. So who do you guys got for sophomore All-American tight ends, right?
Kyle Pitts, I think he's a future stud. Pitts is great. I love, everybody that Matt is typing. They're all really good. But I am just Kyle Pitts. There's just something, him and Brevin Jordan, but I really like what I've seen out of Kyle Pitts. I think he's just a mismatch nightmare. He reminds me of a young Jimmy Graham. So I'm just excited to get my hands over him in real life and in Devy.
Right. I like that he's that mismatch, but then he also blocks and he also gets dirty. I like that because that's what I love. Brevin Jordan, what he creates as far as mismatches, but he doesn't come across as that tight end that's going to just, knock you on your ass either. So yeah, but I like, the playmaking side. And then another guy that is also on our list is Pat Freiermuth from Penn State, and almost the same thing as Pitts. Every time that they needed a big play or they needed a key first down, it was Freiermuth that was getting the target. He was always open. Like, he was always finding those holes in the defense, and I like him a lot. He's definitely more of a blue collar guy as well. We'll get down in there in the trenches and block and do different things, and they move him around quite a bit. So he's very athletic. And I'll let you, Matt, do you have anybody else you wanted to add? I mean, there's some really good sophomores. So.
Well, that's the thing, right? So I was throwing in there Brevin and Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State, who shows a lot of ability, got all the size. This 21 class, we're talking about this 21 receiver class already. This 21 tight end class could be nasty. Pitts is the guy. Pitts is a monster. I love it. I'm a big fan of his. But Freiermuth is a stud. and like these other cats, Rucker, Brevin, whoever else creeps into that category, you know, I don't know, man. We do this every year, right? We're looking at 20 right now. It's here, but like, 21's looking pretty juicy, right? So it started.
Oh yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do at Devy, right? So I said, "Oh, 21." Yeah. So anyway, all right, guys. And juniors, there's a couple good choices there, but I'm not sure who wrote in Hunter Bryant here, but that would, I think, be my choice. Who do you got, Ray? Is it Hunter or?
Yeah, I mean that would be the choice. I mean Hunter Bryant, and the more I think about him, and I just even the video that he posted where he announced his decision to forego senior season, I can't stop thinking about Matt just talking about how unathletic he looks when he should look really athletic. Like I want to say he's Evan Ingram, but he's so far from Evan Ingram. It's not. I mean, I looked at I think his coming out of high school, he ran like a 4.8, 4.9 40. I mean, that's, man, I don't know. Sure. It's
yeah, it's
Hunter Bryant.
Yeah, like you said, it's kind of a default. I think he's going to be an all right NFL tight end. I just don't think he's going to be what we really want to be and what he maybe some of us thought he was going to be a couple years ago. So, yeah. So I don't. Yeah, Matt, you got anything to add on that?
No, I mean, and I put his name in there reluctantly, but it's, like you said, it's kind of by default. What do you do there? There's not I mean, he did really well statistically and everything else, but he will be. He probably won't be on any of my dynasty teams. You know what I mean? I'm not sold. But the amount of NFL mock, the amount of NFL love. Obviously, he got a good enough grade where he's declaring to come out this year. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'm missing it, but just not. He's not doing it for me. But I don't know. He's got to win this one. I don't know who else will take that spot there.
Yeah, so by default, it's Hunter Bryant. All right. Seniors, we had a bunch of good options. We talked about them, several of them before, with Bryson Hopkins, Harrison Bryant. I mean, Alberto's still there, who will probably be a pretty good NFL tight end. For me, it's Bryson Hopkins, because obviously I took him as my Mackey Award winner. And you guys would you both go with Harrison Bryant because that's who you guys went with your Mackey Award winner? Or?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm a big Bryson Hopkins fan, but this one, it's like if you're gonna have to spend a early second on Bryson or like a late third, early fourth on Harrison Bryant, it's kind of one of those things. So Both studs, but I just love the upside on both these guys. The ceilings are really high.
Right. I like it. Yeah. All right, guys. All right. With that, we'll wrap up our award show for this year, and this is kind of sort of a, I don't know if we'll talk too much more about the 2020 guys past this. We'll probably come back in a couple weeks and kind of talk about maybe some of the bowls and stuff. We haven't really talked about it much yet, but what we'll do in 2 weeks. So trying to think what today's date is, the 20th. So we'll be right after the first of the year, I think. Does that sound right, guys? I'm trying to, I can't get a calendar to come up quick enough.
Or it's the 18th today. So,
I'm hashtag bad at math. Yeah, so right after the first of the year, we'll have a show, and we'll have seen, probably we got a lot of bowl games in the next 2 weeks, obviously. And all right, Matt, tell everybody where they can find you, your work, obviously SFB9. But anyway, you got to bring it up again, man.
Yeah, look, like I said, I'm happy I got in. I'm a little surprised I got in, but I love every second of it, and this is where I need y'all. Positive energies and vibes and prayers, and send your boy Commish some love, man. Let's get those dubs. So doing it for the Devy Happy Hour, doing it for Dynasty Happy Hour, doing it for the West Coast, doing it for everybody. So come give your boy some love. But no, in the meantime, I'm doing nothing. I'm not writing anything. I'm not doing any rankings. I'm over here looking at my rosters and my championship squads, and I am trying to win a couple of these bad boys, but specifically this one. And y'all know, man, I don't even want to talk about it anymore, but you know where I'm at.
Right?
I can't follow this guy up tonight. He's just on fire. Everything he's saying is just gold. I'm at DLF doing a little bit of writing, really ranking. Not the DDP. I'm so glad that I didn't do a show this week. I just needed a break. I said I'm taking a week off for the DDP. I'll do something probably the beginning of the year. I may do something next week. It just depends on how I feel. It's been good to just kind of relax and kind of decompress. I'm ready for the seasons to be. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm just ready for it all to be done and just kind of focus on the pre-draft and not really, everyone has been hitting me up. Where's the DDP episode? I was like, the hell if I know. I'm not even worried about it. It'll come out when it comes out. I don't even care right now. So I'd rather put out quality content than get on there and just fluff with you guys. So really need to think about the direction that I want to take that show. But whenever it drops, if you subscribe, you will know. And if you follow me on Twitter at RojiQ, you'll know as well.
All right, nice. Yeah, you can find my work at DLF as well. And like these guys said, I'm kind of taking kind of a quieter break, kind of stepping back, spending more time with the family. I haven't even been listening to podcasts lately. Usually I do listen to, like a variety of podcasts, and I'm not even, I got a couple titles I'm going after this week, but after that, I'm ready to shut down for a little bit and, watch some football without anything on the line. So it's crazy. But yeah, so that, and obviously want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you guys all for listening. Happy holidays. If you say that, I'm kind of not very politically correct with that. I tell everybody Merry Christmas. I don't care. So, all right. I don't know. We'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks, man. See you.
2020 is coming.
Oh man. Yeah, my whole thought is like, if you're Jewish, you can still say Merry Christmas to a Jewish person. Yeah, whatever. I don't get it.